I've been wanting to install an LED strip in the studio for a while now. So when I woke up to see a blizzard kicking up, I knew today was the day. Thing is, I'm a first timer, so I didn't know where to start. I thought it was gonna be too hard, and I wasn't sure if I could physically hold my arms above my head for like an hour or two. So if you're thinking the same, then hang tight, because in less than 10 minutes, I'm gonna answer all of those questions and show you how you can go from this to this in an afternoon, even with setbacks and challenging spaces. And if you stick around, I'll let you in on some tips to help your install run as smooth as that sea glass you picked up 7 years ago for no reason and haven't thought of since. So first things first, don't leave your lights plugged in on the spool for longer than 60 seconds, or they could totally overheat. Okay, with that disclaimer out of the way, this stage is all about the prep. So grab your vacuum and your stepladder and move everything away from the wall if you don't have clearance. For me, I had to start at the fridge. If you don't live in the woods like I do, then you probably have less vacuuming to do, but for all my country bumpkins, we're gonna go ahead and suck up all that cob. If your lights came with those little mounting brackets, then get those all out, compile them in a pile, and that'll be easy for you to pull from as you go along. If your light strip didn't come with the brackets, like mine, then it's all good. You can just go on Amazon and order yourself a pack of like 150 for $8. Or you can risk it for the biscuit and just install them without the brackets. I'm sick of procrastinating this video, so I'm gonna go without. And if it starts falling in the future, I'll just snag a pack from Amazon and throw that up there, no sweat. I've actually got some tips on how to lessen the likelihood of your strip falling if you're not using the mounting brackets, and also how to work with challenging spaces, so stay tuned for those. Next, you'll want to use the wet wipes they give you to clean the area where you're going to be mounting the strip. Again, if you got shysted like I did and your strip didn't come with those extra goodies, then you can just use a dry rag, go around, and do the business. Now we're ready to start the install. I suggest fully unraveling the LED strip. This will make it a lot easier to work with in the air. Totally forgot to set an official timer for the install, but it's roughly 2 p.m., give or take a few minutes, when I actually start running the LEDs. When doing any type of install, I like to make sure that the device is working with the brand app and Apple Home before mounting the device. That way, if there is an issue, I'm not fiddling with it overhead, disgracing my grandfather with my colorful language. So I went ahead and paired them, but this is an Agovi video, so I'm not gonna make you watch all that. Let's run the lights. So I was already anticipating this to be the most challenging aspect of the install, but we're prepped, we've got clearance all around, and the lights were paired, so it was time to get cracking. I started off in the fridge cubby because I'm planning on using a ceiling mounted power strip that lives in that area to plug into. This is actually my first tip for mounting these without mounting brackets. You want to be mindful of any weight coming from your power strip. Too much weight will pull down the LEDs. Ideally, you could go directly into a discrete outlet without worry, and the brackets would definitely help with that. But any way you can keep the weight off will do. I used some Velcro ties to handle my excess power and plugged in as close to the source as possible. Once you scope out your power situation, you'll begin peeling the film off of the back of your LEDs about 1 to 2 inches at a time and start applying it to the wall. I found that using the ceiling as a guide made keeping the strip in line pretty easy. Also, not exposing all the tape at once kept the LEDs dust-free and made it easier to make fine adjustments when applying the LEDs to the wall. Work your way around the room and make sure to press firmly on the LED strip as you go. Verify it's really stuck on there and keep it moving. If you have any obstructions, you'll want to move those. In my case, I had this lighting rig in the way. I just moved it down, ran the LED strip, and moved it right back into place. I wouldn't suggest covering your strip with anything because they do get pretty hot over time. If you drift a bit with your strip, don't sweat it. The mistake likely won't be noticeable if you're not a nose length away from it anyway. So here's my drift. Boo! It's all good. Let's keep it moving. So if you find that your strip is too long after you measured not once but twice, you'll have to get creative. In my case, after some thinking, some grumbling, and a lot of pacing, I decided to cut the excess. Had it been too long by a bunch of feet, I would have dropped a 90-degree fold and outlined the closet. Pulling that off leads me to the next install tip for challenging spaces: folds. To get around 90-degree corners, you'll fold your LED strip into a tight little loop and continue your path. Make sure you give those loops an extra little press or two on either side to really fix them to the wall. Rinse and repeat until your room is finished. Feels so good to sit down. Alright. If you enjoyed the video so far, throw it a sweet little thumbs up. It really helps to support the channel. So all in all, we're looking at about 90 minutes for a first time whole room install. Really not bad. Would I suggest someone with zero experience take on this project? Yeah. It's a little tedious, but it's not hard, and it's well worth the effort considering the fact that you only have to do it once. Plus, if you plug in your LED strip to a smart plug, that's going to give you even more customization and functionality. If you want to see how to set up some cheap, reliable smart plugs and what to do with them once you have them running, check out this video next. And if you're curious about the mounted power situation you saw today in my studio, then subscribe to the channel because I'm dropping that video next week. Catch y'all later.